There isn't a single video on YouTube that clearly explains how to render a 3D models to look like the work you see on ArtStation. And this is extremely important because if you don't know how to present your work properly, getting hired or landing clients becomes 10 times harder, no matter how good your models are. In this video, I'm not using Unreal Engine. We are doing everything inside Blender cycles. I'll walk you through the key principles that separate sloppy render from high quality off-station level artwork. Let's break down the secrets behind it. Here I have my sci-fi rover model and I'm going to use this for my render, but you can use any model you want. By the way, if you are struggling with creating good designs, you can definitely check out my gun design program. It's specifically made for artists who feel stuck with boring designs. We teach you exactly how to model, add detail, and texture. Everything you need to know to create a strong, professional design. You can find it in the first comment and in the description below. Back to the topic. So let's start by adding a simple floor. Press Shift plus A and add a plane. Just scale this up and then we need to carefully position it. Just make sure that the subject is barely touching the plane. If it's overlapping or floating, it's going to look terrible in the render. So keep an eye on that. So we place it properly. Now I'm going to move this plane forward and also extend the length a bit. That's all it takes. We don't really need to do any extrusion of the wood. I'll explain why in a minute. Now we need to place our camera. You can experiment with different angles. And for this one, I'm going with a slightly left angle. Once you're happy with it, add a camera to the view. By the way, I'm using machine tool for this. Now, talking about the resolution, this is something a lot of people get wrong. I usually work with square or wide landscape format, but here I'll show you the best size. So in the scene property, I'm going to set the X to 3600 and the Y to about 1800, which is a professional size for uploading on ArtStation. Next is focal length. Again, I'm using machine tool for this, but you can find the setting in the camera property as well. Most people on YouTube say 75 to 120mm is the best focal length. Yeah, it's good, but it's not great. These values can create a lot of unwanted spacing, which make your artwork feel less impressive. I would recommend something around 300 to 500mm. It's quite extreme, but it gives you a much better view. Trust me. Now, we need to zoom out until the model is visible from all the sides. And here's another common mistake. Most people go for a top angle like this, which kind of makes the subject looks like a toy. If your subject isn't that big, you can go with this angle, but not in this case. I want this to look intimidating and heavy. And also, going too low doesn't work either. It messing up with the plane and doesn't give you a clean shot. So you might ask, what is the best angle then? It's basically an eye level view. Not top angle, not bottom, something in the middle. That's the key. This helps the design feel more cinematic and also make it easier to study the shape. You can go slightly lower if you want, but 9 out of 10 times, the eye level view works better. Just make sure none of your sides of your designs are going out of the frame. Now we need to rotate this plane to better match with the camera view. So once we done that, we end up with this split background look. The floor stays relative, bright, while the top goes much darker. Since I'm going to render this in the PNG format, we'll have a transparent background anyway. So what I usually do is add a black layer in the post process. And this is actually very common in ArtStation portfolios. And we're still not finished. There is another camera rule. A lot of people center their subject, and sometimes that works, but often it looks very static. So I recommend placing a subject slightly facing left or right. That will create a more dynamic look. When people see a design, they naturally focus on one side. Then their eyes move into the empty space, and that space actually helps enhancing the design. Because you've got the detail on the one side and a breathing room on the other, which pulls attention back to the model. That's all about the camera placement. Let me just slide this panel a bit, like that. Now we can add some texture to this plane. This is where a lot of beginners make a mistake. They usually just add a principal BSDF, set the color, and adjust the roughness. And that's what end up looking fake. I'm not saying you never use simple texture. Even I use them sometimes. But I don't use them in the main render. So I recommend a proper flow texture. Find something very subtle, nothing overkill. I'm using one from the Blender kit, and probably I should have to expand my MatricX material collection. Anyway, once that apply, make sure to apply the scale so that the texture align properly. Alright, now we are ready to light the scene. First, we need a realistic base light. So I'm going to use an HDRI. I have a small collection here where I usually experiment and see which work best. In this case, I'm using hospital room HDRI, which actually works really well. Even though the HDRI gives me a decent lighting, we still need to balance it with extra lights. So I'm going to add an area light somewhere near the wheel. I'll lift it up, scale it big, and shape it something like a rectangle. Let me bring this closer to the front view. Give it a slight rotation on the local X and position it properly. Now we need this light to other side, so I'm simply duplicate, rotate it on the opposite direction, and place it like this. Next, I'll duplicate this area light and push it backward. I'll reset the rotation and rotate it 90 degrees on the X and then rotate it on the Z. Something like this. Let me carefully adjust the rotation so it's pointing towards the mounted machine gun. Now this one is acting like a rim light, which gives a really nice highlight on the edges. And finally, I'm going to add a spotlight. I'll make it fairly large and position it towards the center of the subject. Then lift it up a bit so it doesn't get any harsh shadow. Now let's start dialing the power. For this light, I'm going to set this around 300. And for this one, a bit lower, maybe 150. And finally, for the rim light, it's going to be around 250. And then for the spotlight, I'll push it about 2000. I'm also setting the color to something like a warm tone. We'll add the same warm tone to the area light as well, but don't make it too saturated because that can easily ruin the artwork. And also for the spotlight, I enable temperature, then slightly increase the exposure, and most importantly, set the blend value to maximum so that the light stays smooth. Lastly, tweak the radius to around 2 to 3. And that's pretty much it. Now your scene have a solid light. It's a simple setup, but almost no one explained it properly. So yeah, I'm glad I showed you this. Let me show you the difference with and without the lighting setup. So in the viewport, I'm going to select all the light and put them into a new collection. Let's switch to the render view, and if I turn off this collection, you'll see that the scene becomes dull and a lot less attractive. And when I enable it, it had a nice highlight and gives you that professional look. Now before we render this, I want to add some volumetric. I'll explain why in a minute. For now, let's just add a cube and we scale this up and position it until it fills the entire scene. Just make sure it's completely covering everything in the camera view. Once that's done, we need to turn this mesh into a wireframe. So in the object property, under the viewport display, change the display to bounce. Now open a new panel on the right and set it to shading. I'm going to add a new material to this object. Delete the BSDF and add a principal volume instead. Then connect the volume to the volume, and for the density, I'll start with 0.01 or maybe 0.005. Then I'll increase the brightness a bit and we can push this anisotropy slightly. This works really well with light. On top of that, since we have emission on the headlights, it also reacts nicely with the volume. Let's do a quick render test. I feel like the volume is a bit too strong, so I'm going to reduce the density to about 0.001. Yeah, that much better. Now go ahead and render this image. Now you might think it's done, but that's very wrong. Even if you follow all these steps, without post-processing, the render will still feel average. Just by adjusting the lighting, tweaking the contrast, and playing a bit with the color gradient, your artwork will feel much more refined and attractive. You can use Photoshop, Lightroom, or any software you're comfortable with. Just before publishing, always do some light edit. That's what changed the whole game. So now you know how to render a scene like a professional. But if your model itself looks bad, it's going to still ruin your artwork. Rendering can save the weak design. So make sure to watch this video if you want to level up your design and make them look like a top artist. You'll see instant result.